wildfire aftermath, how one Saskatchewan community has already done its own assessment of the season. Back on the stand, what a man accused of human trafficking is saying under oath. And dispelling stigmas, taking steps to better support people living with FASD.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the wildfire situation. While the province is preparing to assess the season, once it's over, at least one community has prepared its own overview. Jasmine Pelche now on how it's preparing to protect properties even better for next year.
After this summer's operations to keep the massive Shoe wildfire from breaching the community, the resort village of Candle Lake has reviewed its wildfire response in preparation for next year.
We surveyed the public in regards to their feelings on the response of the local community, and we got that input so that we could reflect on that so we could make future plans.
Chief Administrative Officer Brent Lutz said the village spent $200,000 preventing loss of property.
About 88% of our respondents were positive about the community's response to the fire. And one of the things that came out of that survey also was a openness for the village to spend funds towards mitigating potential fire loss in the future.
He shared that the village has already obtained an additional vehicle for the fire department and is considering adding fire breaks in the community. While it's been over a month since Candle Lake faced an immediate threat from the Shoe fire, wildfires continue to burn elsewhere in the province. On Monday, SPSA Vice President Steve Roberts told reporters that almost all fires in the province are contained, but there is still a lot of work to be done, and SPSA fire crews have been extended into late September. The SPSA will begin an after-action review on fire management strategies used in the last few months.
The questions will be ranging from everything is how do we manage the evacuation process? How do we manage the setting of priorities for responses? At what point do we bring in external resources like from other provinces? So there was questions about the military.
As of Tuesday afternoon, there are 33 wildfires in the province, 2 uncontained. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Prince Albert.
One of 2 men accused of human trafficking was back on the stand today at his trial in Rosetown. Hallie Mandrick on what he said under oath.
The trial of Sohail Haider and Mohammed Massoum continued on Tuesday with Haider's testimony regarding his interactions with a woman who is an alleged victim of human trafficking. Massoum and Haider each face a count of human trafficking, with Haider facing one additional charge of sexual assault. The woman, whose name is protected under a publication ban, claims she had wages and personal documents taken from her while she was forced to live in an unkempt basement. According to Haider's testimony, after moving to Canada from Bangladesh for work, the woman resided in Gull Lake and Tisdale, living with Massoum while waiting for her work permits. Upon receiving permits to work at Haider's diner in Elrose, the woman continued to postpone moving from Tisdale. Haider told the court that the woman was visibly upset when she arrived at the house in Elrose, which Haider and his wife had for their employees to live in. He said the woman was, quote, angry, screaming, and crying, but she did not say why. After 2 days of working at the diner, the woman called in sick, and another employee living at the house informed Haider that the woman was no longer there. Haider testified to contacting RCMP to report a missing person. The trial is set to resume on Thursday with Haider's cross-examination, and Massoum is also expected to testify before the end of trial. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Rosetown.
The Saskatchewan NDP wants to know if there's anything the province could have done to resolve the occupation of a former school in Richmond by a fringe group faster. Sierra D'Souza Butts on what the NDP is calling for and how the government is responding.
After the leader of the self-proclaimed Kingdom of Canada group was released from police custody, the Saskatchewan NDP is questioning the length of time it took to remove the group who resided at a former school in Richmond.
This is someone who threatened to kill public officials and terrorized an entire community for 2 years.
The NDP says families did not feel safe in their homes and deserve answers and accountability from the government of Saskatchewan, requesting for a major multi-agency review to be done.
With this multiple ministry review, looking at why the Ministry of Justice, why the SHA, why Municipal Affairs, and so many other agencies weren't willing to take action and step in and put an end to this sooner rather than later.
On Monday, Saskatchewan's Minister of Corrections, Policing and Public Safety, Tim McLeod, says it was monitoring the situation carefully and received letters of concerns from residents in Richmond, allowing police to respond when suitable.
As the minister responsible, I don't direct policing. We certainly oversee it and make sure that the communities have the policing that they need. And in this case, the RCMP were very engaged, very watchful of the situation, and when the time was appropriate, they acted.
In a statement to CTV News, the ministry added, political interference in policing operations should be unequivocally condemned, and the NDP's unrestrained instinct to interfere in independent police matters is not only lost and reckless, it's particularly shocking. Meanwhile, in Swift Current, the owner of the former school, Ricky Manns, was released from police custody under conditions until his trial date. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
Warm day today, but change is coming.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, right now we're seeing more July, August-like temperatures at the moment, but we're seeing things that are probably going to cool off in the back half of the weekend, into the weekend and into next week, certainly as more showers begin to arrive. Really, really toasty tomorrow, and then probably Thursday as well. Then things cool off. We'll have more later in our broadcast.
People gathered in downtown Saskatoon today in hopes of changing misconceptions about fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. The FASD network brought together dozens of people to continue this work one step at a time. Carla Shinkrick explains.
This day means the world to me.
Shanna Moore's daughter has fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, so reducing the stigma around the disease is crucial to her.
There's a lot of shame and blame associated with FASD, and I will just say that there's lots of reasons why alcohol could be used during pregnancy, and shame and blame don't serve a positive purpose in the world of FASD, and compassion and empathy go a long way.
FASD refers to a range of lifelong effects that are physical, cognitive, behavioral, and social that can occur in those exposed to alcohol before birth. International FASD Awareness Day is held on the 9th day of the 9th month to emphasize the importance of going alcohol-free for the full 9 months of pregnancy.
Impacted by FASD.
Drew Sebastini is attending for his son, who also has FASD, and he's encouraged to see the shift in thinking about the disorder, which affects about 1.5 million people in Canada.
People have opened up. They don't consider it as much as of a disability as maybe it once was, and I think it's really freeing for myself and for him to know that it's not going to limit his future.
This is an encouraging event for organizers, as this is the largest turnout they've had since they started the event in Saskatoon 3 years ago.
It's just really nice to see a large turnout and to see so many people, I think, glad to be here and to support something that I feel like is very important in our community.
FASD has been referred to as a hidden disability because it hasn't been openly talked about in the past. But Moore is hopeful that keeps changing since the number of people affected is so significant.
In Canada, when you combine the rates of autism, Down syndrome, and cerebral palsy, FASD surpasses the rates of those 3 other disabilities combined.
So those involved in this event are ensuring this is one more step in the right direction towards making a change. Carla Shinkrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The province celebrating the launch of a new program at the U of S to train physician assistants. 20 students out of 340 applicants were accepted to be part of the first intake of the Master Physician's Assistant Studies program. Physician assistants work in primary and long-term care, as well as emergency medicine, cancer care, general internal medicine, and surgical specialties. They can conduct patient exams, prescribe medication, and order, as well as interpret tests. The province committed $7 million to launch the 2-year program in hopes of easing the pressures on the healthcare system and fill gaps created by doctor shortages. Students say the focus on rural healthcare is why they chose this program.
This time, because the AMPAS program has a
a focus on practicing rural, and that's something that really interests me. That's why this program was extremely important to me. I see so many patients. Like, I have a background as a cardiovascular technologist here on campus at RUH, and I see that there's a need in rural communities. So this program in particular was super important, that it has an emphasis on the rural aspect.
In 2023, the province introduced legislation to allow physician assistants to practice in Saskatchewan. 4 of them are practicing in Saskatoon, Regina, and Meadow Lake. The province has also upgraded one of its air ambulances to better serve patients with complex and urgent medical needs. The King Air B200 has a large entry door, a bigger stretcher, and an electronic lift. The interior has also been upgraded. The province says the improvements to the medically assisted equipment planes make it easier and safer for emergency workers to move patients on and off the aircraft. The goal is also to improve care and access to health services, particularly for patients in northern and rural areas.
We always are working with our partners in the Saskatchewan Health Authority to make sure that we're providing the best service we can to the residents of Saskatchewan. And as our population grows older and changes, we have to have different equipment to make sure that we can carry everybody with the care and dignity that they need.
Saskatchewan has 4 air ambulances that run 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and transfer about 1,500 patients annually. Scott Moe is in the middle of the pack when it comes to premier popularity. A new poll released by Angus Reid shows Saskatchewan's premier has an approval rating of 50% based on people surveyed in our province. That's up 1 percentage point from the last survey taken earlier this year, but down from 65% that he received in 2019. Manitoba's Wab Kinew tops the approval score at 61%. The least popular premier in the country is Francois Legault in Quebec at 22%. The survey was conducted online between August 28th and September 5th. A major boost for Saskatchewan's potash industry. The K+S mine near Bethune is expected to double its output over the next 15 years, with the company planning to spend close to $3 billion. Wayne Mantika with the details.
A sod turning was held at the K+S potash mine as construction crews worked in the background. It's the first phase of a major expansion.
I always say the evidence is behind you. We're here in the province. We're committed to growing in this province, and we're really putting that into action today.
The first phase of the expansion will increase production output by about 35% to 2.2 million tons per year. The company, which is headquartered in Germany, is confident in the future of the potash market.
We are seeing a strong potash market, so demand is slightly higher than production, which is always good, so prices are stable.
No dollar value was provided for this phase of the expansion, but the company will spend close to $3 billion over the next 2 decades. 500 construction workers will be involved in this first phase, followed by creation of 50 permanent jobs at the K+S mine site near Bethune. For the government, increased output means more royalties.
Yes, it won't be into production for a while yet, but that means once it is, the amount of royalties that will contribute to the economic progress of Saskatchewan and the people.
The announcement is part of a 20-year expansion plan for the K+S potash mine. When completed, production will be more than double its current level. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, near Bethune.
As kids are back in class and spend time at playgrounds this fall, the province is offering an opportunity to upgrade essential parts of the schoolyard. Damien Smith with those details.
For nearly 10 years, the Catholic School Community Council at École St. Angel and Marici has been fundraising to build a new playground for its youngest students.
It's a structure that was constructed when the school first opened here. The structure itself is it's aged out. There's not a lot of activity or interaction with the structure at this point. So for us, we want to have a structure that is really engaging for the students.
Now the provincial government is throwing a lifeline to schools in similar situations, with applicants now open for the new school playground equipment grant. Eligible projects can apply to receive up to $50,000 in matching funds to build, add, or to replace new structures structures.
It's not only your physical and mental well-being. You know, it's learning to be part of the community. It's learning to, you know, establishing friendships. It teaches them so much. So it's extremely important that all children have that opportunity.
Over the next 4 years, the province will be investing $3.75 million a year to enrich outdoor play spaces in Saskatchewan and make them more accessible for everyone.
It's very exciting for us to be able to engage with the government, and $50,000 in terms of a replacement for a structure like this is a significant portion of the overall capital that's required to do those types of work. So we're extremely excited about it. The program seems to be a perfect fit for us and what we're trying to do here. So
applications will be open until February of next year on a first-come, first-served basis. Projects must be completed within 1 year of the approval date. Damien Smith, CTV News, Regina.
Still to come, why a Canadian city declared a state of emergency. Also, Qatar is rocked by massive explosions. What Israel is saying about the attack. You're watching CTV News live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us tonight. The mayor of Barrie, Ontario, has declared a citywide state of emergency. It's in response to the growing number of homeless encampments, escalating safety concerns after a double homicide and the devastating toll of unregulated drugs. CTV's Heather Wright has more.
From Michael Gervais' front steps, the extent of Barrie's encampment challenges is clear. More than a dozen tents dot the sidewalk, a number he says is growing.
The drug use is rampant out here. It's nonstop. It's all day.
Gervais says in addition to drug use, violence is escalating as well. Recently, 2 pieces of metal rebar were thrown at his house.
And one hit close to the door, and the other one came through the window.
Today, Barrie's mayor declared a state of emergency over homeless encampments, citing a recent double homicide, fires, overdoses, and excessive E. coli levels in the city's waterways.
It's not a safe environment for the folks who are living there. It's not a safe environment for those who are around them, who are walking by them, or who are permanent neighbors of encampments.
The emergency declaration covers all city-run public spaces, including parks, sidewalks, and trails. Mayor Alex Nettle says it will allow staff to enforce encampment protocols more aggressively, including dismantling the sites considered most high risk. The city has also earmarked more resources for addiction, mental health, and housing. But Nettle adds if people don't accept help and get off the street, they won't be allowed to stay in the city.
The folks who've been offered help and offered support, if they don't take it, that's their choice. That's not the people of Barrie's choice.
Encampments have been growing in cities across the country, especially since the pandemic. A lack of affordable housing, limited support services, and nowhere else to go have pushed many to live in tents. Those we spoke with today who didn't want to appear on camera worry about being forced to leave or forced into shelters where they don't want to go.
Advocates say simply removing encampments doesn't address the root issue, simply moves the problem elsewhere. Barrie has not said when they will begin removing these sites, but say it will likely take months. Heather Wright, CTV News, Barrie, Ontario.
Prime Minister Mark Carney has been teasing an announcement on housing in the next few days. It will come after new numbers show housing starts are at their lowest level in 30 years in a region where the need is the greatest. CTV's Michael Couture walks us through the numbers.
The Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation says slowdowns in Vancouver and Toronto weighed on the overall number of housing starts, and there is a concern it could affect housing supply in the future.
Home building in Toronto fell to its lowest level on a per capita basis since 1996. According to a report from Canada's National Housing Agency, Vancouver also saw a drop in housing starts compared to the first half of last year.
There's this slowdown in activity that will potentially recreate kind of those issues in terms of pressures on prices, pressures on rents.
The CMHC says pre-construction sales are slumping by double digits in Toronto, which is forcing developers to delay project launches in a city that is in desperate need of new homes.
The cost of construction has gone up.
drastically, and the number of people that are out there looking to buy has gone down again drastically as well.
A near record pace of apartment construction in Calgary, Edmonton, Montreal, Ottawa, and Halifax helped offset the sluggish numbers in Vancouver and Toronto. Developers believe cities could see even more growth without municipal development charges, which help pay for roads and sewers.
We need to be able to reduce that for, even if it means just completely eliminating it for a good period of time so that our industry can pick up.
Red tape is another complaint, which Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre would reduce with a suite of measures.
Get rid of the sales tax, cut the development charges in half, speed up the permits, zero tax on reinvested gains.
In a statement, a spokesperson for Housing Minister Gregor Robertson said the government is going to build homes at a pace and scale not seen in generations, pointing to a yet-to-be-announced program called Build Canada Homes. However, there are still no details on the measures the Liberals intend to implement. Mike Lecouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
South of the border, the U.S. Supreme Court has agreed to hear arguments on Donald Trump's global tariffs. The American president is asking the top court to overturn a lower court ruling that most of his tariffs are illegal, including his Liberation Day levies and fentanyl-related tariffs. The court will hear arguments in November, and the tariffs will stay in place until it decides. Massive explosions rock Qatar, Israel calling it an assault against the senior leadership of Hamas, who used Doha as their headquarters. It is an unprecedented attack, but not the first time Israel has gone after the masterminds behind the October 7th massacre. CTV's Adrian Gabriel now with the shocking international airstrikes.
Smoke paints the sky black on a dark day in Doha.
It certainly is an escalation of this war.
The deadly daylight air assault is believed to be Israel's first ever inside Qatar. This Hamas residence, now left with a gaping crater in the capital, is said to have been the target, just as the latest ceasefire proposal was being considered. Hamas says that 5 of its members were assassinated in the attack, including the son of exiled chief Halil al-Hayya. Though al-Hayya, seen here, who is believed to be the prime target, has survived, according to Hamas.
These are the same terrorists who planned, terrorist chiefs who planned, launched, and celebrated the horrific massacres of October 7th.
As Israel's prime minister took responsibility, the attack is sending shockwaves across the international community.
I condemn this flagrant violation of the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Qatar.
Britain's prime minister saying the priority must be an immediate ceasefire, the release of hostages, and a huge surge in aid into Gaza. In Israel, the families of hostages believe today's airstrikes may have sealed the fate of their loved ones.
Crushes the hopes of all of the families. It's just, it's devastating.
There were several days ago warnings from the Israeli Defense Forces Chief of Staff that Israel was going to start targeting Hamas's leaders no matter where in the world they might be.
Israel's air assault in Doha comes after Hamas's armed wing claimed responsibility for shooting and killing 6 people on Monday at this bus stop in the outskirts of Jerusalem. The latest escalation comes as Israel issued an evacuation order today for residents in Gaza City, with the IDF sharing its intentions for a full-scale operation. The military maneuver reportedly involved 15 Israeli fighter jets firing 10 separate airstrikes on one single target. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
At least 24 people are dead after a Russian glide bomb landed in the middle of a group of seniors lining up for their pension in a village in eastern Ukraine. The attack on Yarova, which is less than 10 kilometers from the front line, injured 19 others. A local official says 23 of the dead were pensioners. The UN says more than 12,000 Ukrainian civilians have been killed in the 3-year war.
Hi, my name is Julia Wetman, and I will be coming home to Saskatoon to direct the Saskatoon Symphony in a special 300th anniversary performance of this beautiful music, Vivaldi's Four Seasons. Inside the concert hall, we will have rain, snow, big storms, gentle breezes, falling leaves, and lots of sunshine. Come and join us for a concert of all my favorite music. I wonder what the weather will be like outside the concert hall.
Alrighty, and that is going down on September 13th at Knox United Church. Now, what is the weather going to be like outside the concert hall that day? Well, it's probably going to be a little bit better inside the concert hall, maybe. Saturday, 7:30 p.m., we're looking at temperatures being a high of 22, cloudy and light rain expected on that day there. But inside the concert hall, I'm sure it will be fun times, lots of great music. See if you can check that out. Right now, we'll take a look at some numbers weather-wise, and we'll start with your current conditions in Saskatoon. 26 degrees at the moment. Prince Albert's at 24, and the Battleford's right now sitting at 26 degrees, and really not a lot in the way of wind out there. So if you're practicing or fine-tuning that golf game before winter eventually comes, you should be okay. We reached a high of 27 degrees here in Saskatoon. Your normal high is 19, so that's not too bad for this time of year. Records, 34 degrees. It was a scorcher in 2011, -1 the all-time low. That was in 1911, 100 years earlier. And then the sun rising at 6:31 and setting at 7:36 p.m. And then coming up later in our broadcast, we'll have your full weather forecast with full 7-day details across Saskatchewan. Chantel?
All right, thanks, Matt. Coming up, hitting rewind on a popular pastime, the movie store that's like taking a trip back in time.
All right, time to take a look outside in your sky cam. Looking beautiful out there. There's a little fly flying around right now, but temperatures very, very hot, well above seasonal for this time of year across much of the province. And tomorrow, going to be even warmer. So as I was telling people earlier today, keep that sunscreen and that hat around because it is going to be hot outside. A quick look at your radar and satellite map, and really nothing in the way of cloud cover across much of the prairie provinces and really much of across Canada, except for some areas across southern Ontario and Quebec that are seeing some showers at the moment. But really, it's been a beautiful day across much of the country, and especially here in Saskatoon and across Prince Albert, Moose Jaw, Regina, all kinds of nice weather that we're experiencing as we move midway through September. Your current conditions in Saskatoon right now, we are at 26 degrees, calm out there, so it's pretty nice. Prince Albert's at 24, and the Battleford's right now at 26 degrees, and it's all sunshine all the time in all three communities right now with a slight breeze. Well, take a look at your provincial highs and lows. The hot spot right now is Leader at 28 degrees. Collins Bay, the cold spot, at 16 at the moment. Currently, your temperatures across Saskatchewan, you can see a lot of temperatures well above 20 and some approaching near 30 degrees. Moose Jaw at 27 right now. We'll zoom into the Saskatoon area, and you can see everyone 23, 24, 25, 26 degrees, somewhere in there. We'll go up north where temperatures are also at or near the 20-degree mark. Buffalo Narrows, a little warmer than 20 degrees. They're at 23 right now. And then in southern Saskatchewan, you're seeing some areas again, 25, 26, Leader at 28. They're the provincial hot spot right now. So temperatures very warm at the moment for this time of year. Normally, we're looking at 19, 20, 21 degrees. Your future cast, we're not expecting a whole lot in the way of cloud cover over the next little while, especially with winds expected to be dying down as well. We'll see some showers above Prince Albert in the northern part of Prince Albert over the next 24 hours. But other than that, it's going to be fairly sunny and easy as she goes, as they say. Watches and warnings right now, not a whole lot in the way of watches and warnings across Saskatchewan. We'll zoom up north to start looking at what things are going to be like tomorrow. 26 degrees in La Ronge, 21 in Stony Rapids, Buffalo Narrows at 24, then Key Lake at 22. West Central Saskatchewan, 27 in Meadow Lake, 28 in Spiritwood, 27 in Kindersley, and then 29 for a daytime high in Rosetown. Temperatures getting near 30 degrees in the southwestern part of the province in Maple Creek, Leader, Outlook, and Swift Current. Then in southeastern Saskatchewan, again, breaking 30 degrees tomorrow for a daytime high in Moose Jaw. Regina also expected to reach 30, so we'll keep an eye on the record books tomorrow across, especially in the southeast portion of the province where temperatures are expected to be very warm. And east central Saskatchewan as well, where we're looking at temperatures at or near 30 degrees for the most part. Your regional forecast, the Battleford's a high of 28 expected for tomorrow. And then after that, your daytime highs expected to revolve around that 28, 29 degree mark. Things start to cool off a bit really on Sunday with cloudy skies, 40% chance of showers down to 22. And that's more seasonal-like temperatures as we move to Monday and to Tuesday. Over in Prince Albert, expected to reach a daytime high of 29 degrees tomorrow. It's going to be quite warm. And then after that, again, temperatures up or near the 30-degree mark. So we'll see 27 on Thursday, Friday at 27. And then again, temperatures cooling off Saturday, Sunday, and into Monday. Here in Saskatoon, overnight, we're going to get down to 11 degrees. Tomorrow, we're looking at a daytime high of 30 in Saskatoon. Going to be sunny skies. Going to be very, very nice. Thursday, 28. Friday, 27. Saturday, 25. By the way, tomorrow, not expected to be a record breaker, but it could be close. Temperatures, again, starting to cool down as we move towards the back half of the weekend and into next week, with some showers expected to show up on Friday. Tributes are pouring in for 70s music icon Rick Davies. Davies and Roger Hodgson performed Supertramp in London in 1970. Their breakthrough came in 1974 with the release of their seminal album, Crime of the Century. They hit their commercial peak in 1979 with the release of Breakfast in America and this song, Goodbye Stranger. Davies died Saturday after a long battle with multiple myeloma, a type of blood cancer.
Thank you so much, MTV, for giving me the Vanguard Award. I can't believe I'm getting my first VMA tonight. I just have one question. What in the Sam Hill were you waiting for?
Waiting a long time. Mariah Carey received her first VMA this week after 35 years in the industry. Lady Gaga led this year's nominations with a total of 12. Among the other recipients were Alex Warren and Sabrina Carpenter. A letter novelist, Jane Austen, wrote her older sister is headed back to the auction block. It's expected to fetch up to $400,000 next month. In it, Jane Austen rattles through an account of her days in Bath. She gossips about their neighborhoods and relatives, shares news about their friends, and reflects on the family's diminished social status. It was written about 3 months after Austen's father died.
All right, Matt, time for Pick of the Day. What did you choose for us?
Well, we got a couple of nice picks involving clouds. So let's bring up the first one here. And this one is by Linda Cole. Thank you very much for sending this in, Linda. Strange but beautiful colored cloud in the sun-setting sky. This picture was taken in Saskatoon. So that is kind of cool. Thanks very much, Linda, for sending that in. Then this one right here, taken by Andy Renaud. This was taken on September 8th at about 7:20 p.m. driving from Tisdale to Crooked River. A nice shot of the highway and then the sunset there on the other side. So a nice picturesque photo there. And then a little ominous looking and beautiful nonetheless. That's what Karen Erlinson wrote about this photo right here with the sort of clouds circling the sunshine there up in the sky. That's a beautiful photo there, Karen. Certainly, thank you for sending us that. And if you want to send us your photos, we love them. All kinds of great photos. You can email us anytime, cfqcnews@ctv.ca.
Still to come on CTV News, taking a trip down memory lane. The Canadian business reaching back into the movie archive. A Toronto business is rewinding to a time when you had to leave your house to rent a movie. Jessica Smith takes us to a special store reaching into the archive as it celebrates the Toronto Film Festival.
Action, adventure, comedy, horror, and more. From small indie films to big-time blockbusters, Bay Street Video has it all.
We've got 40,000 titles to rent at a given point. We just did our inventory, so I know for sure that we're between 10 and 11,000 titles for sale.
A staple in Toronto for 32 years, they have nearly every film from every genre dating anywhere from the late 1800s up to current blockbusters.
This is A New Leaf, which is one of the funniest movies ever made. It's directed by Elaine May, who was one of the first women to break into Hollywood.
We want to make sure that, we're curated by people for people.
In their ongoing celebration of cinema, every few months, Bay Street Video has a theme and lets you rent 2 movies for free. And in September, the talk of the town is TIFF.
We've done like movies shot in Toronto, good like best soundtracks, quotable movies, and right now we're doing TIFF world premieres, so films that had their world premiere at TIFF.
Creating a sense of community for both those finding their first favorite flick to the seasoned cinephile.
You come here partly for the experience of knowing that everybody here is sort of simpatico with your movie love and your movie obsession.
Celebrating cinema, Bay Street Video is an archive full of classics and maybe your next favorite film. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
When we come back, addressing mental health among youth with technology, and later the notable find centuries in the making.
All right, time to take a look at your world forecast across Saskatchewan. And some of the numbers we're expecting for tomorrow, again, temperatures at or near the 30-degree mark for many places across Saskatchewan. We'll keep an eye on the record books. Not sure if we'll set any records in Saskatchewan tomorrow, but some places could become very close. Like Herbert, where SaskTel internet plans up to 1 gig are now available, and they're looking at a daytime high tomorrow of 28 degrees and mostly sunny skies.
Greetings, everyone. Virtual reality technology is going above and beyond gaming and entertainment. It is now being implemented in areas like education, health services, and mental health. We recently spoke with a researcher from Saskatchewan Polytechnic who's looking to address the mental health of youth in northern communities with virtual reality technology. A team of Saskatchewan researchers are set to begin a new VR initiative with the goal of helping Indigenous youth living in remote northern communities.
One of the questions was, do you feel VR technology could play a role in enhancing your wellness? And 98% of our respondents said that they would be willing to engage in that or give it a try. So just a way to really connect with youth, connect them with one another, overcome some of those geographical barriers.
The Virtual Interventions and Community Connections for Indigenous Youth program, Vicky for short, began in 2021 through Saskatchewan Polytechnic. Starting out with a clinical care approach, the initiative has grown and adapted through consultations with youth on their needs and wants. The research lead on the project says the youth are interested in connecting with others using the latest technology.
What really intrigues the youth is exploring different ways to connect and meet others or learn from role models. And so there's a lot of ways to enhance mental health and well-being, and it's really having the youth lead that.
Joey Genero is a youth advocate who has been working with Vicky. Along with helping the virtual program, he's traveled to many northern communities across Canada, seeing and hearing firsthand the issues youth are facing. He sees the potential of the VR program to reach youth in a new way.
To inspire them to make different changes in their lives. And a lot of kids are very good on computers already as it is. And, you know, I think this virtual stuff is going to be an amazing thing to connect with these kids in the north, you know, that really need the help.
The Vicky program is currently in phase 2, which begins this fall, with 6 northern communities taking part during the school year. Conversations with youth was a major component of the program's creation, and Beckler hopes this is a commonly used step in the future.
In any of the initiatives moving forward, or when we're trying to support this next generation that's going to lead our province, I think it's so imperative that we really start listening.
If you have a story you would like to see in this segment, here's how to reach us. You can contact me by email, and you can also watch past episodes and segments of Indigenous Circle on our CTV Regina and CTV Saskatoon websites.
Indigenous Circle, brought to you in part by Saskatchewan Indigenous Enterprise Foundation, growing the First Nation entrepreneurial spirit.
Saskatchewan Roughriders kicker Brett Lawther has dealt with some struggles this season, but the long-tenured rider came through for the team in the Labor Day rematch. Jacob Carr explains.
In a game where the Riders offense struggled to put up points, Brett Lothar came up big for the Riders in the Banjo Bowl. Despite heading into the game with only a 66% field goal conversion rate on the year, Lothar went a perfect 5 for 5 for 15 of Saskatchewan's 21 points. Lothar says he will take a win in any form or fashion.
Yeah, I think it's always going to be business. Like, if we didn't get a field goal or went 10 for 10 for me, it's don't take a lot of satisfaction in the personal stuff. So we still just trying to stay in the moment, stay present every day.
Corey Mace and the Riders have stuck with Lothar through his kicking struggles this season, and Mace says he was happy to see Lothar come through in a big spot in a tough environment.
Yeah, no, I thought it was honestly like crucial. I mean, we would have been in tough, you know what I mean, if he didn't nail those. You know, he showed up when we need him, and specifically in the big ones. So super proud of him.
Lothar and the team are now looking ahead to their next opponent, the Montreal Alouettes, and with a slim 2-game lead in a competitive West Division with only 6 games remaining, the Riders know every one of them is crucial.
Like, if you look at the standings or anything, everyone's always looks like they're winning in the West or right there. But for us, those are things that are out of our control, and all we can control is what we can do on Saturday here. And trying to get better today, trying to get better tomorrow, trying to get another win on Saturday.
The Alouettes come to town on Saturday before the Riders enjoy their final bye week of the season. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
Turning to local gas prices now, the average price in Saskatoon just under $1.40 a litre. The lowest price in town, $1.29.9. On Saskatchewan markets, Cameco finished the day today at $107.24. Nutrien was down 93 cents. Coming up, discovering what is considered the oldest organ. Then an icy record set in Chile, Chile.
Select Hair Services brought to you by Sage, the Beauty Bar.
Stay with us for another night of great television starting tonight at 7 with The Big Bang Theory. Well, silent for more than 800 years, an organ that researchers say is the oldest in the Christian world sounded again in Jerusalem yesterday. Researchers believe the Crusaders brought the organ from France to Bethlehem in the 11th century. After a century of use, they buried it to protect it from invading Muslim armies. There it stayed until 1906 when it was discovered by construction workers. Researchers hope to start creating copies of the original for churches across Europe.
The organ's always found that fascinating. It doesn't look like an easy instrument to play. It's like a piano times 10.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Very, very complex.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got to show you a couple more stories before we go. A woman known in Chile as the Ice Mermaid has a new world record. Barbara Hernandez completed the furthest ice swim by a female swimmer. She swam 3.84 kilometers in water temperatures of 4.53 Celsius without a wetsuit or insulating grease. She did that swim in 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 15 seconds. This isn't her only record, though. Hernandez also holds the record for the longest polar ice swim by a female swimmer and the fastest mile swim across the Drake Passage in Cape Horn, which is where the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans meet.
Yes, that is one very cool swim, but could she do it in November in a lake in Saskatchewan? Be much, much too cold for that.
Well, that's a possibility for sure. All right, well, they say don't cry over spilt milk, but in Germany, you shouldn't cry over spilled beer either. Oops. Oliver Strumpfel is a bartender who tried to break the beer mug carrying world record. This year he fell short while trying to carry 31 mugs. He lost one, which lost him the record. Then he lost a few more after his concentration slipped. His record, though, is 29.
Oh, you know, he came so close. But you just keep trying it again. You fill up another 31 with beer, and, you know, I guess you can keep going. It's all about the size of the mug, right? And the handles on the mugs, right? You know?
You'll have to practice.
Yes, I will try. I'll try. Maybe I'll take some photos. Hopefully I don't spill any beer. By the way, tomorrow's going to be a nice day if you want to, you know, get outside on the deck, have a quick beer, because it's going to be beautiful outside. 29 degrees for a daytime high at 5 o'clock. We're actually expected to poke to around 30 in the mid-afternoon tomorrow, so it's going to be beautiful.
It definitely will. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a great evening. We're back at 11:30.
See you then.